All right. Well, I will tell you all that I tried to take a lot of shots to prepare for this moment, and they were uniquely horrible. So whatever happens, we're doing this together. So anyway, I'm Jenny. You might recognize me as the one that had like the Mazda Miata console strapped to my waist for most of the weekend, and I feel like that's a really good place to start because I think it really illustrates my commitment to Katie and this wedding, and I just want you to hold that mushy-gushy feeling in your heart in the instance that I might embarrass or enrage you over the next few minutes. And so, speaking of that, I'm just going to let everybody in this room know that I won the Tropicana speech contest in 5th grade. And it's not a threat to you, Mike, or anything, but I'm just letting you know it's probably not going to be brief. And so anyway, I was prepping for this. I wrote this on the way here on my plane, and I've seen in my day a lot of wedding speeches, and I really feel like they fall formically into 2 categories. So you can go kind of the full-on When Harry Meets Sally, right? And if I do that, though, then you're all going to cry, and then Katie's going to cry, and then I'm going to cry, and then we're going to ruin our $320 makeup. And that's not happening. Or we can go like the Wedding Crashers route. Yeah. But I also feel like if I talk about motorboating Katie's taties, she's going to drag me out of here by my good arm and just like throw me off the ski lift. I mean, so what I'm trying to say is, Chris, is that she's your anchor and your sail, your starboard and your port. And yeah, we're gonna move on. So anyway, what we're gonna do is to keep things simple, we're just gonna go down the line because there's certain boxes that I have to check. And so we're gonna do it together. And I'm gonna tell you about our friendship. I'm going to tell you about the relationship, and I'm going to squeeze in a few embarrassing anecdotes because it's customary and it's my duty, and it's not that I take any pleasure in this whatsoever. I just want to live up to like what you want me to be. Okay. So anyway, speaking of that, I just want to say that I am truly honored to be your maid of honor because it either means that I'm Katie's favorite, which, you know, maybe. Or it means that you thought I'd give the good speech. Jury's out. Or of the most probably outrageous, as my phone doesn't switch, is that you thought that I could be someone that you could trust with responsibly carrying out wedding tasks. And so we're going to put a pin in that theory, and we're going to circle back to it later on in the speech and see how that goes. So first on, I'm going to elaborate on our friendship. Check that box. So Katie and I met in 2009 through her ex. Now, I won't go into details, but I'll just say that his given name is the literal synonym for vomit. And it suits him. It suits him. And so
we're glad he's gone.
I don't make the rules. So anyway,
It's good that was cleaned up.
I'm the consummate third wheel, and so we grew closer and closer until we both fortuitously went through breakups at the same time, just days apart, and she won me on the equitable distribution sheet. And so after that, we ended up living together, and it was honestly like the most seamless roommate situation I ever had. We'd wake up and we'd have our coffee, and then we'd fill the hot tub with bubbles, and we'd eat sushi and drink champagne out of it, even during like thunderstorms, like conduits be damned, you know? And most importantly, we'd remind one another of our worth at a time where both of our lives had been flipped on their axes. And so I think this made sense to everyone around us because on paper, Katie and I seem pretty similar. And we do have a lot in common. Like we really love champagne and fashion and design. And with us, like everything has its own aesthetic. And I think we share some strong suits too. You know, we're exceedingly loyal and dependable, even sometimes to a fault. And in 11 years, I don't think we've even ever come close to getting in a fight. And as similar as we are, we definitely have our differences. So perhaps our biggest incompatibility is that I'm a brunch aficionado and she doesn't eat breakfast. And it's tough. Always. And then, like, if I'm senselessly spontaneous, like, she's geriatrically routine. Okay? And so, like, you know. So she's, you know, she's reserved and I'm not. And so when Katie makes a plan, you know, she sticks to it from start to finish. And myself, on the other hand, I changed the name of my +1 about 50 times this week. And I suggested at one point that she put the strange from, yeah. He was hired. So, like, at one point I suggested that she put the strange from Bumble until I remembered we were in Mormon country and I paid that guy to come and say nice things about me. And you know in the movie how Harry tells Sally that there are like two kinds of women. There's high maintenance and then there's low maintenance. And so with me and Katie, there's high maintenance and then there's higher maintenance. She's definitely the higher one, okay? And so I knew that this wedding was gonna be just joyous. Like, I knew the whole process. And I knew this wasn't one of those, like, for title's sakes, maid of honor. Like, I knew I had to bring my A game. And for the past year or so, I've done so well. I mean, like learning how to bustle a dress with one arm. Hundreds of texts of her looking up something specific that she imagined in her head but doesn't exist. And so most nights I fell asleep on the Google and I was like, did we find her the 4 pairs of shoes she needs for her wedding day? Check.
Yeah.
Bridesmaid dresses from Australia. Check. Removing lace to add lace. Check. Modern vintage earrings. Check. Wedding day perfume that smells clean and Mediterranean, but not floral, and not powdery, but not too cool, and not too warm. Check, check. Custom 2-layer crepe COVID mask made out of the exact material of her wedding gown that she didn't even fucking wear. Checkity, check, check. Listen, we're in this together, okay? And I swear to Gossamer, the whole time I'm like, damn it, I'm killing the game. You want it? You got it. I'll just toot my own horn, but toot toot, you know? Honor me. But then, and this is where shit gets strange. I'm sorry. Because I keep telling you, she keeps asking me questions. This is all the ad-lib part. And I keep telling you, I'm going to tell you tomorrow. So I go to zip my suitcase. And I realize that I have made, like, the ultimate blunder of all bridesmaids' blunders. And I'm, like, dry heaving, so I can't do this. Like, I'm trying. Right? And I realized the night before my flight that I didn't pick up my bridesmaid dress from the alteration place, and it had closed 45 minutes before, and that my flight left 3 hours before it opened. And I just had these images of Katie going like DEFCON 5 Broadzilla. And so I pulled the slip and the business card from my wallet, and it's ran by a 75-year-old woman named Virginia who does not have social media. And she's on the nationwide do not call list. I know this because I pulled a background check, and I called her house. 3 times, leaving 3 distinctly impassionate voicemails. And, 75-year-old Virginia ghosted me. And so one thing Katie will tell you is that I can't lie to save my life. And so I've got to come clean right now to all of you fine people, because I'm sure it's a bad omen if I wish this marriage well sitting upon a throne of lies. So, Katie, my dear friend, I'm not wearing my bridesmaid dress right now. I'm wearing the second one that I ordered, and I got it overnighted to the St. Regis. That's why it's so household. I got here a few hours ago. My original one, which I also overnighted from Tampa, is in Albuquerque or Lithuania or God knows where. And I tell you this because I want you to know, come hell or high water, new labrums toward biceps, shipping fees that exceed the cost of my gown and plane ticket combined, that I will always be here for you. Through all the good times and the insanely particular OCD, nothing but the best will do, not even one of my other 10 solid bridesmaid dresses that I packed just in case this did not get here. Which brings me to one final difference between Katie and I that will probably seem very inconsequential to you after everything I've already shared. And that's the simple fact that although Katie winds down by about 8 p.m., I don't even leave the house till midnight. But when it counts, we will always sacrifice our preferences for each other, such as this morning when I sat down for hair and makeup at 6:30 a.m., or when Katie, let me drag her out to Ivory way past her bedtime, where she was serendipitously reunited with this endearing yet, even by my own standard, obnoxiously loud guy from high school, who insisted on buying us a round of drinks, which turned into 2 rounds and then into 3 rounds until we finally lost count and he offered to drive us home. And this was a gesture I'm fairly certain was aimed to show off the then greatest love of his life, his Beamer. A gesture which ultimately backfired because Melissa also joined us out that night and full-fledged projectile vomited, straight up like Reagan from The Exorcist, all over every last square inch of that upgraded interior. And so, you know how they always say when you're at a wedding, you watch the groom when the bride goes down the aisle. And I say that when you're looking for a potential match for your friend, you watch how he treats you. And in that moment, I looked over to Chris, upper lip quivering, single tear, whispering something about chunks of shrimp in the Bose system. And he calmly just shook his pants and floor mats, just dislodged the throw up. And then he carried Melissa inside and he got her some water, exchanged numbers with Katie, full-fledged, like I'm talking Prince Philip. And then he went home, like the gentleman that I now have come to know. Because, it's a true story. You can't make this up, like not even me. So anyway, since that faithful night, I've had the pleasure of spending many weekends with Chris and Katie, and I've watched their relationship develop, and I've gained a friend in Chris throughout the way. And just like Katie and I, they have their similarities and they have their differences, but somehow it just clicks. For as old of a soul as Katie is, Chris is the absolute male human embodiment of their golden retriever, Maui. He's so enthusiastic and excitable, and I'm talking like wide-mouthed, childlike wonder over security cameras and like TV resolution and like the NASDAQ. Last time I it, he grinned like a kid in a candy store, and he pointed to the new Alexa, and he's like, I got you a new device for your room. And although he's a devoted UCF fan, he's good in my book, because he sincerely cares about Katie's health, her career, her family, her overall happiness, and he treats her friends as his own. And he's done a good job filling my shoes by pulling her out of the house every now and then after blaring gangster rap, as he very, very, very patiently waits for her to get ready. And, he makes her breakfast and washes the dishes and wants so earnestly to build a life with her. He is a partner in every sense of the word. And so there's a set of books in their house which spells out a Elsie DeWolf quote on the spines. And it reads, I'm going to make everything around me beautiful. That will be my life. And when I think of their future, my mind goes to that sentiment. I think of the beautiful life that they've built these past 5 years, the beautiful next chapter that they're embarking on, the beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed, all-American children they'll one day have, and what a beautiful thing it has been to sit back and witness it all unfold. So forever your third wheel. I love you and I wish you every happiness. Congratulations.